Greetings once again, pirates on the high seas. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with another chapter of One Piece. Previously, we saw the beginning of the absolutely inhumane native hunting competition on God Valley, where the world nobles will hunt down 100,000 rabbits, as they put it, dehumanizing the humans and, non-humans who the world nobles will be hunting, like animals. It's absolutely disgusting. Again, like I've said before, every time you think, man, the nobles can't get any worse, they get worse. We're shown that the young girl who calls Ivankov Big Bro, Ginny, had an earpiece Den Mushi, much like in the live-action One Piece adaptation, and she used it to get on with several other Den Mushi she stole in order to announce the prize of the competition to the outside world. Naturally, this was intercepted by several pirate groups, which left Kong also getting word of the potential attack, and he contacts Garp, one of his top men. At the onset, Garp says no. They stole the treasure from the Hachinosu, they poked a beehive. How could they not expect to be attacked by the Rocks pirates? But the moment Roger is mentioned, Garp is in it. And so, we see the arrival of the Rocks, Roger, and the Marines led by Garp. And the start of the God Valley incident, started by a young, how old was she, like 12 or 13? Young girl named Ginny. We also find out that the likes of Streusen and Gloriosa were part of the Rocks Pirate, as well as the first time we actually get to see Shiki in the story proper, outside of Chapter 0. Drawn by Oda, but now he's in the main series. We got to see the human form of Captain John and not a corpse, and we also got to see several of the Gods Knights. This distraction allowed Kuma and Ivankov to steal the pawpaw fruit and the fish fruit in the model Azure Dragon. Eva was this close to getting the dragon fruit, literally making him a drag queen. I don't know if anyone else ever made that joke. I feel like someone should have. Someone probably did. There's no way nobody else made that joke. But before Eva can eat it, Big Mom shows up, taking the dragon fruit that she would later give to Kaido. But Eva urges Kuma to eat the pawpaw fruit before it can be taken from him. But he's suddenly confronted by J. Garcia Saturn, and as Kuma declares that he will save as many people as possible, Saturn says that's why the Buccaneers need to be eradicated. It kind of gives the implication, especially when Kuma brings up the name of Nika, that Nika was a Buccaneer. And many people have said that that hat that Eam has frozen, the frozen straw hat, wouldn't quite fit a giant, but it would be the perfect size for a Buccaneer. We later cut away from God Valley and see that Kuma, Ivankov, and Ginny have made their way to the Sorbet Kingdom, with Kuma managing to save 500 people. Understandably, he's a bit upset that he couldn't save more. I mean, when you can only save 0.5% of 100,000 people, it ain't great, but those are still lives he saved. We also find out that a young Morgans, who would have been around, 15 at the time, wrote up the story about God Valley, mostly detailing what Garp did there, with everything else being swept under the rug. Ivankov then sets out, looking to start his own adventure, with Ginny staying with Kuma at the church his parents left behind. The two young slaves, both enslaved since the age of 4, mind you, are finally able to find happiness, with Kuma even befriending 2 kids who would one day be members of Bonnie's pirate crew, and then finally being able to eat their fill. What direction will the lives of Kuma and Ginny now take, with the two of them living together? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, One Piece Chapter 1097. Ginny. Reader requests Bartholomew Kuma catching salmon in a river, like a bear, by Takashi. And it looks like he's using his pawpaw fruit, and instead of catching the fish, he's sending them to, some lucky person who's gonna get them. We see the 2 people who would join Bonnie's crew in the background, and Ginny saying, Kuma, the gloves. Naturally, Ginny has developed the signature Oda female physique. Alright, Kuma's starting to look like the Kuma we know. Oh god, he's only 17? Jeez. We have the narration. 8 years after the God Valley incident, 30 years ago, Sorbet Kingdom, South Blue. And there's a commotion at the church where Kuma attends. The people say, Kumachi, I need your help. I've been coming here since your father's generation. It was such a shock when he up and vanished. He vanished. But I'm so glad to see his son growing into such a great pastor. I'm sure your parents are happy wherever they are now. It's nothing but old folks in this poor kingdom. That's so much better now. Thanks, my boy. We see Kuma using his fruit to expel the pain out of the old people. An old man says, I'm next. My back is killing me. The people pray to Kuma, saying, oh, what a blessing it is. The miracle hands. But couldn't you extend hours to weekdays too? Someone comes stomping in saying, absolutely not. Only on Sunday. We see a fully developed Ginny, age 21, who shouts at the old people, you're asking a lot for people who aren't paying us any money. Behave, you greedy old beggars. The old people say, oh no, it's Ginny the cheapskate. Ginny says, shut up. This ain't a campground or a hospital. Another old person says, so pretty but so foul-mouthed. Yeah, very much like Bonnie. Another old person says, from what I hear, the men in town can't stop vying for her affection. Ginny says, stop changing the subject. But the old people continue on saying, but then again, she's already got Kumachi. An old lady says, the sight of Kumachi's face makes me feel at ease. And Kuma says, that's so sweet of you. And as the people cheer, Ginny shouts, they act this way because you spoiled them, Kumachi. An old lady says, I'd give you as much money as I could, Kumachi, but it was already hard enough just to get by while paying the heavenly tribute. And now we've got this new king, don't we? New king? So a revolving door of kings isn't really unique to the Sorbet Kingdom. Interesting. The old people say, they say that King Bakori is a cruel man with a heart of stone. If we get sick, we can't pay our share of the heavenly tribute, and then he'll throw us in jail. It's a travesty, I tell ya. Gee, the last geezer they tossed in a cell starved to death, I hear. Starved. Jeez. But why are there only old people in the country? What happened to the young kids? I mean, there were plenty of kids hanging around Kuma when he was younger. He won't even pay to feed the prisoners. Stupid skinflint king. I always knew he was bad. The way he bows and scrapes to the celestial dragons, we have to be healthy or it's a death sentence. Jeez. Yeah, the more we hear about the heavenly tribute, the more insane it is. Kuma says, well, I can help by removing any light illness or pain you're feeling. Come every Sunday. And as Kuma waves off the people, they say, thank you, Kumachi. Yeah, someone had pointed this out in a video I watched a while back, where when he took the pain away from the kids that Kuma had beat up, they were just like, isn't Kuma taking that pain onto himself? Where else would that pain go? And Kuma seems like the kind of person who would do that. And sure enough, all that pain he took from all those old people in a very Zoro-esque moment. Kuma stands before it, he breathes out, and he plunges himself into it, just racking his body with pain. Jeez. Jeez, this is gonna suck in the anime. This is gonna suck in the anime. You see Ginny sitting outside the door, trembling but silent. Next thing you know, Kuma's on the ground, passed out from all the pain. We then see a teared up, sniffling Ginny tending to the injured Kuma in a chair that is way too big for her. As she says, every week you do this, and they have no idea how much you suffer for them. Kuma says there's no other choice. That mass of pain and suffering won't disappear until someone accepts it. So yeah, dang. If left untouched, it makes its way back to the original person. But more than the pain, I feel delighted to see their happiness. Okay, so that's how it works. So would that have worked with the memories then too? Is it that when Bonnie found those memories from Kuma, was it that the memories had nowhere to go? Or was it because of the specialized room that they were in? As Ginny wipes Kuma's brow, he says, I'm sorry to put you through this anguish. I'll toughen up and be stronger. It does explain why Kuma's so tough too. Like, geez. Ginny says, that's not the issue. Kuma smiles, saying, they gave us some food, didn't they? Let's eat. And Ginny immediately perks up, saying, yay, food! What a glutton. We then cut to the two of them eating merrily. Well, mostly Ginny eating merrily. 25 years ago. Kuma at age 22. So Ginny would be 26 at this point. And out of nowhere, Ginny says, "Let's get married, Kuma-chi." Kuma says, "What? No." Like, what? Ew, no. Ginny angrily says, "Why not? Marry me, damn it. You know you love me." "You know you love me." She says, "I'll make you happy." And the blushing Kuma says, "I'm sure you would, but..." Kuma pauses, thinking of his father Clap, saying, "It's me, I'm the one who has Buccaneer blood, but my wife does not. Let her and my son go free." Yeah, that would do it. Kuma thinks to himself, "I don't want to bring you misery." Kuma changes the subject, looking at the newspaper, saying, "Look, another article about the freedom fighter. They've caused protests in several countries, and now they're wanted by the authorities." Ginny doesn't respond, but Kuma continues on saying, "Dragon, he's so cool. He must be someone's hero, I bet." Wow. Kuma having admiration. One day I want to go out to sea and use my life to help others too. Suddenly there's a knock at the door. Someone calling out, "Are you in there?" Ginny turns, and it's the two boys she beat up before when they were younger, now men. One says, "It's the lovely Ginny." One of them holds up fish, saying, "We caught a huge haul today. Please take some fish." Kuma smiles, saying, "Oh, thank you, Goyo Goyo." And Ginny tosses a wooden bucket at him, and he says, "Ow." And Ginny sighs, saying, "Dummy." Oh, we then cut to 22 years ago. Disaster struck. Royal City, Sorbet Kingdom. Kuma at age 25, so Ginny's 29 by now. We see Kuma causing a ruckus, saying, "Give your prisoners back." Oh, he's wearing the hat now. Yeah, the old people are taken prisoners, saying, "Help us, Kuma-chi." The men holding them at sword point say, "You dare defy the royal army? Who is this monstrous lug?" Kuma says, "I'm a pastor from a church in the south." The soldier says, "Well, father, I'm sure you've heard that the laws have changed. Now we're free to do what we want with the people from the south." Oh, and Kuma gets pissed, saying, "You're turning them into slaves? It is an unforgivable sin." And Kuma essentially uses the Ursa shock, lashing out. As the soldiers call out, "This is rebellion!" One of the soldiers goes to the king, King Bakori, I had to go back and check real quick, saying, "Your Majesty, I must admit that this policy is going over poorly with the people of the realm." Bakori dismisses it, saying, "Don't worry. They will soon be led astray by labels and look down their noses at the south." Okay, so it's kind of like the Goa Kingdom, where you had the inner walls of the kingdom, and then everywhere outside is pretty much left to fend for itself. Interesting. And we see a map of the Sorbet Kingdom, castle and royal city on one side, and then on the other side is Kuma's church, then the elderly village, which is the lawless area. Oh, so it's like that. So yeah, it's very much like where Luffy was, where I know a lot of people question, it's just like, wait, when Fuchsia Village is part of the part of the Goa Kingdom, right? I mean, to a certain degree, but they're not really taken care of the way one would hope. King Bakori declares, "Starting today, only the north part of the island is the actual Sorbet Kingdom." Oh, the world government determines the amount of heavenly tribute owned by the number of citizens. In other words, the south, with all of its old people who cannot pay their tribute, should be cut loose. In doing so, the country will be prosperous and balanced. Okay, that explains a lot. That explains so much. Even the burning down of Trash Mountain, take out all those people, less people needed for the heavenly tribute, an unsightly blot. Oh man, that explains a lot about the Goa Kingdom now too. Jeez, disturbingly pragmatic. We then see Kuma, Ginny, and the others who would later join Bonnie's crew, Goyo Goyo and the others, all in prison. Kuma's basically in his attire that he normally wears at this point. Or does he wear that under his pastor robes, I wonder? Kuma turns to the others saying, "Why are you in here too?" Ginny, who's beat up, says, "We were clamoring for them to let you go." And Goyo Goyo says, "And they beat us to a pulp." The others laugh. Kuma grows angry, saying, "Ginny, I'm afraid our land is turning into a place of the haves and the have-not. Ginny says King Bakori is just a tool of the celestial dragons. This whole plan came down from someone above him. If we want to fight back, we have to take on the whole world government. Suddenly there's a commotion. Oh, so this is how it happens. It makes sense. Yeah, there's a commotion in the Sorbet Kingdom. Explosions go off. People yelling, who are you people? Run, your majesty. And we see a very familiar face saying, you won't escape, you sad imitation of a celestial dragon. And a very dragon-like silhouette says, he makes me boil with anger. The people in the city cheer, saying, the king's given in. The enslavement policy is no more. I'm so glad. I didn't want to live like that. And then we have the narrator come on saying, through someone's interference, the Sorbet Kingdom avoided disaster. Dragon says, this man you're infatuated with certainly is a wild one. Ivankov says, you'll be impressed with him, Dragon. They open the doors to the prison, and Eva calls out, Kuma, Ginny, so you've been imprisoned, eh? I'm here to get you out. Kuma and Ginny are both stunned as Ginny says, what, is that you, bro? Kuma says, Eva, and is that? Eva says, listen up, Kuma. If you're still the same man as that boy back then, come with us and change the world. And then we see Kuma and Ginny now part of the Revolutionary Army. Well, the freedom fighters at this point. I'd have to double check. This was before Ohara, right? It would have been about the same year as Ohara, right? 22 years ago. The 20 years for Robin and counting for the 2-year time skip. Yeah, same year as the Ohara incident. Wild. Yeah, freedom fighters strike a pose. Ivanka saying, yeehaw! And Ginny saying, I'm going too. Yeah, Ginny is looking more and more like she has to be Bonnie's mom. But 22 years. Bonnie would have had to have already been born and at this point be 2 years old. See, we saw 25 years ago, but we skip over 24 years ago and then go to 22 years ago. They're leaving enough gaps that it still makes you question. I really don't want Bonnie to be a child because we've had too many moments of looking at her tit and her being topless, and it's like, okay, the moment you make her an underage child, too far. Because, look, people already kind of get a little skeevy about how Oda treats some of the 16-year-olds in this series. Like, Vivi was 16 before the time skip, and then you had Carrot, who I think is 15, and Pudding, who I believe is 16. And Oda only ever goes so far with that. And most he's ever really only done, like even when Vivi was in like the belly dancer outfit, we had one moment of seeing her in the outfit, and then it was mostly Nami who was 18 at that time. It's like, we keep skirting the line. At most it's the infatuations with younger girls that get a little But the moment you make Bonnie a little too young is like the moment I'm like, Oda, no. Nah, bro. Nah, this ain't it, bro. But narration. The freedom fighters led protests in countries around the world. After the arrival of the great era of piracy, which would be 2 years after this. No. Yeah. So the Ohara incident also started around, a busy year. The forming of the Revolutionary Army, the Ohara incident, the start of the Great Pirate Era. Jeez. Yeah. After the arrival of the Great Era of Piracy and the tragic fall of Ohara, the group took up arms, and with the addition of Kuma to the twin pillars of Dragon and Ivankov, they underwent a transformation and became the Revolutionary Army the world would later know and fear. I do wonder what made Dragon put that tattoo over his eye. He has the band on his leg right now, but why tattoo himself with it? What does it signify, I wonder? Dragon says, we still lack a solid source of funds. The plan is to act like mercenaries and lend our strength to rebellious elements seeking to overthrow their kings. Those who wish to join us will be taught how to use weapons and fight with them. One day I want to raise this into a massive armed force scattered across the globe. Kuma questions, how did you learn to use weapons, Dragon? Dragon says, I spent some time in the Navy. okay. There was always that question about it. Sadly, I couldn't find any of the justice they wear on their backs. And we see all of them at a table with Ginny just chowing down. Eva says it's strange to be at odds when both the Navy and revolutionaries want to help people. Yeah. Some people don't quite understand that. It's just like, no, we understand that the Navy wants to help people. It's just helping the Celestial Dragons is a no-no. Kuma says, well, I'm with you all the way, Dragon. And Dragon says, you won't regret it. We then see Kuma returning to his church with the old people saying, oh, is Kumachi back? Kuma says, I'll return now and then. I want to make sure you're all right. And the old people say, that's so sweet. But he's not coming back with Ginny. 8 more years pass. 14 years ago in a certain country, and Ginny has become Revolutionary Army Captain of the Eastern Forces. Wait, yeah, Bello Betty was... Oh no. So, this is the lead up to what happened to Ginny, huh? And still no Bonnie. You see Ginny preparing her gun and chomping down on some meat. One of the soldiers say, you look happy, Ginny. Ginny says, oh, is it showing? Tomorrow's the big day. She smiles, saying, we're gonna meet up with Kumachi's group, remember? I can't wait. The guy says, I wish I were Captain Kuma. He gets the affection of everyone's crush. Ginny says, what? Don't crush on me, you creeps. Grow up. And they say, what a mouth. There it is. We then cut to the Revolutionary Army headquarters in Baltigo, where a report comes in. Dragon, come in, Dragon. Dragon says, Ginny's been captured? The person on the radio says, I'm sorry, the enemy caught us unawares. Oh, it's obvious it's bad news for Ginny, which is sad. How does it all tie into Bonnie? I really don't want Bonnie to be a small child. Like, dude, no. Please. I finally got over my hang-ups about aging up Momo. Don't do this. But I don't know what the workaround is here. I mean, maybe Bonnie is a clone of Ginny, but she looks too different. Just too different. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be satisfied with whatever answer we get here. But man, the life and times of Kuma. It feels weird to finally be getting all these answers too. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be satisfied with whatever we find out about Bonnie next, unless there's something that just has been out of sight. I don't know. And then we have the whole thing about Queen Dowager Connie. How does she get in the picture of all this? And at what point did Kuma take over the Sorbet Kingdom? Some sad stuff's about to happen next chapter. It's obvious. It's just lost on me because anything I can think of that happens involving Ginny and Bonnie just doesn't quite line up in a way that I'm satisfied. But, I mean, hey, that just might be how it goes. We're getting closer and closer to a lot of big truths though. I mean, from the whole God Valley incident to the formation of the Freedom Fighters, the Revolutionary Army and all that. I mean, we're getting more and more of those details as time goes on. I think give it another arc or two and we'll really start getting those answers because we got that tease, that nice little tease. So let me know your thoughts on this chapter in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. Thanks so much for watching and I hope to see you later. Till then, bye bye.